Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, Ludo? Whoa, let's go further. There you go. So we are here today to talk about the process of buying a home in the Netherlands. Here are some topics we're going to share with you. And just so you know, we're going to record this and you will receive the recording afterwards, I think in a day or two, and the presentation as well, as you can see now. So you'll be receiving everything. And you are also able to ask all your questions. I kind of ask you to do it at the end of the presentation. Please save them for the end. We will answer them all. Ludo, my colleague, will help me out with them as well. Let's go a bit further. So I am Giovanna. I live in Eindhoven for a long time, in Eindhoven for about 10 years, and then before that, Groningen, the north of the Netherlands, and Asseng as well. I'm an expat buying manager. I'm also an expat rental manager at H&N. I am Brazilian. I am a proud mom, very proud of a son and a daughter, 2 little kids. I moved to the Netherlands in 2009, as I said before. I have rented many places, way too many in my opinion, in the Netherlands before I bought my house. I have bought my first house. I renovated the whole house. I sold it and I bought one again, very old one, renovated all over again. And with this market, I'm not going to deny that I'm literally thinking about selling the third property now, because I can make a good profit out of it. So let's see how the plan goes. This is our team, our buying team. Ludo is my colleague that's going to be here, that is here with me today, but we have people from all over the world. Cyprus, Ireland, Belgium, UK, and the founder of H&N, Kimo, he's South Caribbean. So Ludo is the Dutch one, but he's very international. We can say that, right, Ludo? But this is our team, and a little bit about our company. We are not traditional real estates. We don't have any properties to sell or to rent. What we do is actually help you buy or rent your property. And in this webinar, in this case, we're going to talk about the buying process. We do have a fixed fee. We don't charge any commission for above any price. So what you pay is one fixed fee, and we also don't have an amount of house that you can see or you can bid for it. So we are with you until the end of the process, and the end of the process is when you want to stop or when you buy your house. So that's how it works with us. We know, of course, what it looks like to settle in a new country. I live myself in three great different experience. Challenge as well, but very nice. So we know how what it is and how it works. Let's see. And we are here, and I would like to say to you that I'll be more than glad to share everything that I know about the buying market in the Netherlands, all my experience and how we work here and how we can help with. But I do have to say, I'm not a financial advisor, neither are my colleague Ludo. So we can help you out with a few questions about your financial, but please make sure you always ask a financial advisor at the end to have 100% sure of your financial power and where you stand regarding the whole financial process in the Netherlands. We will share our opinions and experience, of course, in the whole market, and we'd love to know yours by the questions. Always ask a true financial specialist. That's I said it before. Please do contact one or the bank you work with, just to make sure what you can do regarding buying in this country. Here, oops. Today Go is add value to you. We do believe and share all the information. We're not here to, so again, feel free to ask anything you want. We don't gonna leave anything behind. You will know everything we do today is what we're going to do if you come work with us. We do believe of sharing is caring, so that's how we do our job. So feel free to ask everything. First, some news about the market. That's not new in Eindhoven. We know that we don't have houses enough here. We do have a lot of people, and people are not able to not just buying a home because the market is a bit crazy, but also because there's no house enough for everyone. I think I saw a few weeks ago some news about that every house that comes up on Funda in the Eindhoven or Eindhoven area of Eindhoven, Heldrop around, it gets around 100 and 120 emails to see the house, and around only 30 people or 20 people are allowed to come. So that's how you see how bad the market is and how much we need houses to be built and faster. So that's what is making also the market going so crazy, because there are not enough homes. There was some news around that a few houses were sold in the region for over 75 to 100 euros more than the asking price. So the prices are going really high as well at the moment, as you probably know by now. And we don't expect anytime soon that the things will slow down. Not slow down, but that they would go down. We do expect that it slow down a little bit, but the growing wouldn't be so high. But at the same time, the market is proving us wrong every time we say that it grows a little bit more. So let's see how it goes. Something about Eindhoven. I don't know your feeling about Eindhoven, but I did live in Groningen. It's a beautiful, beautiful city in the north of the Netherlands. If you haven't been there, just go for a weekend. It's really nice. So Eindhoven is not known for being a pretty city. I don't think we are that pretty. We don't have old, nice buildings or canals around, but we do have a lot of intelligent people that walk around, and we do have Philips and a lot of things, and the whole design in Eindhoven, the whole academy design that is bringing more and more people to Eindhoven. So that was also brings the market, makes the market goes a little bit more crazy than it is, and make a lot of people want to live in Eindhoven as well, for that matter. NHG, you probably know by now the NHG changed in January to maximum of 325. NHG is a national mortgage guarantee. It's a type of mortgage, but for you to be able to get that, you can only purchase a house at the price is maximum 325. When I say maximum price of 325, it means that that's the value that is going to be in your purchase agreement. It's not asking price 325. What you're going to pay above. It has to be the total of 325. So then you are able to get NHG. NHG provides you a better interest rate, better conditions. For example, if you lose your job, if you have an accident and not able to work anymore, if you get a divorce, something like that, you are more protected than the other type of. But be aware that you do have to pay a fee to be able to use NHG. You pay 0.7% of the purchase price only once to be able to have that type of mortgage. But the interest rates are really, really low. I saw one client had less than 1% a few weeks ago, which was really, really low per year. So it is a good deal if you're able to find a house in that condition. Transfer tax exemptions. So that's a very good thing that the Dutch government did. If you are younger than 35 years old, you are exempt to pay the 2% transfer tax. When you buy a house in the Netherlands, you have to pay transfer taxes. But if you are younger than 35 and you never bought a house in the Netherlands before, and the maximum value is 400,000 euros, you are able to get those 2% as a, let's say, as a discount. You don't have to pay to the government. You can use for something better. But if you are 33, for example, and your partner is 37, but you never bought a house as well, it means that you get 1%, that you'll be the one with the 33 years old that will be getting the discount. Or if you never bought a house before and is younger than 35, but your partner did bought a house before, then you still get the 1%. Of course, if the mortgage is 50-50, then you get 1% on your part of the debt. So that's how it works. But the maximum price, be aware again, is 400,000. So the 400,000 is the price that has to be in the purchase agreement. So it's not if you buy a house of 400 and overbid. It's 400,000 is the final price. It has to be in your purchase agreement price. Oh yeah, this is one of you, 35, it's also 1%, I said it before. We did a little comparison so you can see the pros and cons about buying or renting a house in the Eindhoven area. You probably know this area is near to the city center behind the library, the Lichtstraat. The apartments are quite expensive there. They are big, expensive. This was the rent. I think this is from April or March already. For one apartment, no furniture, 940 square meters, 2 bedrooms. In this building, I've been there before because I rented myself an apartment there about 8 years ago. The second bedroom is very, very small. Just be mindful of that as well. It's more like a study room. You can put a single bed, but you cannot put a single bed in a wardrobe, for example. Well, you could put a single bed in a little wardrobe, but you cannot put a double bed in a wardrobe. So it's quite small. So the rental price is $13.50 per month. That's only the rental price, not included the service costs. And most of them don't include the garage as well. We have to pay extra for that. So we did here pros of, I think it's it. Let me put it this way so I can see it better. The pros, you have flexibility, of course. You can always leave, you can always stop paying and go to something cheap. No proper or homeowner taxes. In the Netherlands, you pay once a year homeowner taxes. You pay water taxes, sewage taxes. For the property, no down payments except the deposit. Some apartments ask for 1, for 2. I see apartments in Eindhoven, people are asking for 3 already when it's furnished or when there is a pet involved. The whole maintenance of the apartment, the building is responsibility of the landlord. You don't have to pay for that. Cons is you have to pay the $13.50 for the landlord, and I do believe you pay service costs in this building as well. It's around 70 to 80 euros per month. Not building up equity, of course, because you only pay, you're not getting anything. No benefits on the market conditions or risk. The market, it's going up, so it's when you buy something, it would go up. That's a good thing, and you always the chances are that you will pay less mortgage than the rent. And here is the same apartment sold. Let me see if I have the date. I think this one was sold last year already. So the price might be around, I would say 4 to 5% more. The pros, stability, no ending lazy, mortgage interest rate deduction, building up equity by monthly payments. Of course, you are paying your own property, which is great. Cons, property and homeowner taxes. You have to pay that, as I said, once a year. Harder to move away because you bought a property, so most likely depend on your mortgage. You would have to sell the apartment if you go away, or again, depending on the type of mortgage you have, you might be able to rent. But we always tell our clients, if you are thinking about buying at least for 3 to 5 years, just to make sure that you are here and using the apartment for that period. Maintenance is also your responsibility. In this case, is specific, this apartment is quite new. It's a new building, so we wouldn't have that many, but still you are responsible for everything. We did a little bit of a comparison about the values. 1350 will be 6,200 a year. If you buy that apartment, interest rates 1.54. I think you can even get a bit less now. Monthly payment would be around 886. Interest rates more 496. Closing fees. Closing fees are the fees you have to pay once when you buy an apartment or a property. I will talk about them a little bit further, so you know what I'm talking about it. In the Netherlands, you can only finance 100% of the value of the property, and the other fees regarding notary, translator, mortgage advisor, what else? Transfer taxes, everything else have to pay yourself. You cannot put it inside the mortgage. So there will be a little comparison. It will take you about 7 months to start to earning if you buy a property, which is, I think it's really good. And I dare to say in this market, it might be even sooner than that. This year is just going literally really crazy high, the prices from the beginning of the year already. So I think you can reduce that to 5 months even. Again, it's you cannot see it, but I can see it's just in front of me. So rental versus buy, again, you can see that. I have to click all the time. What you need in savings, those are the costs that you have that you need besides the value of the house, the mortgage, what you need to be able to get a mortgage in the Netherlands. So let's say you're buying a property that it costs 300,000 euros. So what do you need to pay extra? 300 you're going to borrow from the bank. That's your mortgage. This is above your mortgage. This is what you need to have in cash to pay before your transfer date. So if you are older than 35 years old and already bought a house, or just if you're older, if your property is high, if the value is higher than 400,000, you have to pay the transfer tax. In this case, our property is 300. So let's work with the 300,000, and we are much younger than 35. I'm loving this already. Much younger than 35. I love this. So we are much younger than 35. So which means that we're not going to pay 2% transfer taxes. So let's put it this way. I always tell my clients to have around 3 to 5% in cash to pay all the transfer taxes you need to have, all the extra payments besides the mortgage, 3 to 5%. In this case, because we are not paying the 2%, because we are younger than 35, we never bought a house before, our house is 300,000 euros. So it means that we need to have around 2 to max 3% of the purchase price. So that will be, so we're not paying the first one, 2%, but we do need to pay mortgage deed and transfer deed. That's more or less what the costs are for both. But I dare to say here in Eindhoven, it would cost around for the whole notary process around 14 to 1500. It can be a little higher depending on the notary, but the notaries we are used to, they charge more or less that value. You do have to pay a bank or a mortgage advisor broker to do your mortgage. I don't know if all of you know that, but the bank where you have a bank account will not do the mortgage for free to you just because you have a bank account or because you have a lot of money in savings there. They will charge you a value. I believe ABN charges around 1,500 to 1,800, and the mortgage advisor go around this price as well. We started from 1,500 into, yeah, you name it, they can go really high. It really depends on the mortgage advisor. If you hire someone to help you out with the whole process of buying a house, most likely a normal real estate agent, a typical one, will charge you 1 to 2%, and that's where we come in. We can also help you out, and we do have a fixed fee. It doesn't matter how much is the cost of your house. We charge the same price if it's 1 million or if it's 100,000 euros house, the price will be the same. You need an appraiser. An appraiser is the one who's going to provide your valuation report. You need a valuation report. It's mandatory in the Netherlands for you to be able to get a mortgage approved. So the valuation costs around 500 to 600. You do, as you can see on the right side of the computer, you see no, yes, no. So you can see that an appraiser is tax deductible, which means in the next year, you get an amount of that price back. Mortgage debt is also tax deductible, and the transfer, mortgage advisor or the bank that is going to help is always, the fee they charge is always tax deductible. You do need not that you do need a technical inspection, but we advise you to have a technical inspector coming to the house before you sign the purchase agreement to look at the house. I will explain you a little bit further. The price will be around 425, but this is something you can choose to have. An interpreter, it costs around 250 if you get an English one. Language will be much higher. I paid for my first translator, I paid about almost 500 euros because I was so afraid to buy a house in the Netherlands that I wanted to have a Portuguese one in the notary. And for the second house, I went for an English one because it was just cheaper. I was like, okay, I know the process was fine, so go for it. The English one will be fine because you receive all the documents even before you're there. So it's just a formality, really. Once you're there, it's because you already accepted everything, you signed everything, so you'll be fine. And you have to pay a bank guarantee. I will explain to you that later what it is. It's 10% of the purchase price of the house that it needs to be transferred to the notary before the whole process finish. And if you cannot have, so in our case, for example, our house costs 300, so we need 30,000 euros to be transferred to the notary. So if you don't have that money, if you cannot transfer that amount to the notary yourself, then you can ask the bank to help you out, and they charge 1% of the purchase price to be able to help you and borrow you the 30,000 for a while. If you're going to do your mortgage as an NHG, National Mortgage Guarantee, and in this case we will, because we bought a property that is cheaper than 325, you have to pay the fee I told you, 0.7% to be able to use that mortgage. And again, it's tax deductible. So as you can see, everything regarding mortgage is tax deductible. That is mandatory. Mortgage advisor or bank, what else? Appraiser, NHG, and the notary. But in the notary, only the mortgage deed is tax deductible. The transfer deed, that's the deal between you and the seller, that's not mortgage tax deductible. But the mortgage deed, the deed between you and the bank, it is. So those costs are around, if you're not paying, again, if you're not paying the 2% purchase price, the taxes, if you're not paying the transfer tax, those costs are around 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So that's more or less how much money you need to have once your offer get accepted, once your mortgage, once you're ready to buy a house in savings. Where are you in the buying process? So here we have another poll. So then we can see here where if some of you already started or not. Let me launch the poll, so and you can see also just a few seconds. We would like to know how far are you on your buying process now. Are you already looking houses? Have you been in the viewings? Have already made an offer? Did you already bought a house? Did you talk to a mortgage advisor? Those little things just for us to have an idea where we can be more, where we can help you more. Oh, something I forgot to say, if you want to pop up your questions on the chat, that's also fine, right, Ludo? If that's also okay, right?
Yeah, that's also fine. Hi everyone, by the way. We have the Q&A, so feel free to put your questions in the Q&A. I can answer them live as well. And if there are some questions where I think that might be beneficial for everyone to see, we'll wait till the end to answer those questions. If you can't find the Q&A, but you'd like to put it in the chat, we'll answer them as well. So feel free to engage.
Perfect. I will thank you, Ludo. I will end our poll. I think we had time enough for this one. Let me go further. Oh, I always have to click here. Okay. So here I will show you, for you more or less to have an idea, how is the buying timeline? How does the buying process work regarding timeline and what you can expect it? So first thing first is starting your search, of course, right? You go into Funda, you look for the property. Good thing about Funda, you can put your notifications, you can put everything and get the houses very fast on your phone. And then a little tip here in Eindhoven area, what I see from the clients that I help and also for myself, because I'm always looking at Funda. That's my job, right? So it's like, we're looking around. A lot of agents, they tend to put the houses very late in the night. Well, late around 10 o'clock in the evening, they start putting houses on Funda. So then in the next morning, when you call at 9, they don't have time anymore for you to be able to come and see the house. So my advice to you is put your notification on your phone. You get a notification at 10 in the evening and immediately send an email. And then in the other day you call. And then when they say there's no spots left, you said, I sent an email yesterday. So they normally are very honest regarding that, and they will check if you did send, and they will make an appointment for you. There are a few agents that put their houses before, the properties before on Facebook or in their own webpage about a day before sometimes. And then when it comes to Funda, it's already, all the spots are booked. So if you'd like to know, I have a little list of a few companies that I see that are doing that more often. So if you'd like to know who they are, at the end of the presentation, you see my email, just drop me an email. I can send it to you. I don't mind to do that. So then you can check the websites as well. So let's say you start your search, you were able to make your appointment, you went to the house, and it's for you to make an offer. So after your offer it's approved, you need to have an appraiser or a technical inspector come to the house to check if everything is okay. About technical inspection, again, that's something you need to decide regarding looking at the house itself and the pictures, of course, but also how old the house is, and look at the documents of the house. So just a little bit before you submit an offer, please do your price research to make sure that the price of the house is correct, that they're not asking too much or asking too little, that you have to overbid that very high. We're going to talk about the overbidding a little bit in front for you to explain how more and less it works. But do your price research, do your area research, and make sure that the value you are submitting in the offer is what really is the value of the property. Because after your offer gets submitted, from the offer submit into this little signing purchase agreement here, you're going to have maximum of 2 weeks, 1.5, 2 weeks. And a lot of agents even going to pressure you more to sign the contract before that. So be careful. But that's the time after your offer gets accepted. And your offer, you put all the clauses and all things that can protect you as well, such as financial clause, such as also the transfer date, when you'd like to move to the house. If you want to buy any items of the house, they normally will give you a list of things they want to sell it, or and things they're going to leave behind. Also ask for the documents of the house. In the documents of the house, you can see everything that is good and bad in the house, if they have any leakage, if they fix it, when they did the if they did a renovation, when was that. And I even this week I saw one, it was so funny because I saw one questionnaire with questions about the house, that they said that they asked it if they have rats before, and there was actually a month before an alarm to the whole neighborhood that there was rats in the neighborhood, not at the house, but it was in the neighborhood. I found very funny, but at the same time very thoughtful that they would just tell people that, look, there are rats in the neighborhood, be aware. So that was something I see more often. But those kind of informations you would have in those documents. So it's very important for you to know. After your offer gets submitted, it's the time for you to do the appraisal. What the appraiser will do, he will come to the house and make an evaluation report. In the evaluation report, he will tell you what is the real price of the house. So let's work with our house of 300. So let's say the house was on Funda for, let's say we paid 300, right? Because I will explain to you about the overbidding later. Let's say we paid 300. So what the appraiser will do, he'll come to the house and make a report to tell us the real price of the house, to see if, because what the amount that he puts on the report is the amount you're going to be able to borrow from the bank. So if he comes to the house, and of course you have to look at your budget, right? But if he comes to the house and tells us, and tells you, for example, well, I'm so sorry, but the house is only worth 270. It means that the bank, it doesn't matter if you have €1 million in budget, the bank will only give you the 270. You're gonna have to pay the 30,000 by yourself, plus the expenses that are concerned to the buying of the house, right? So that's what the appraiser would do. But it can be that he comes to the house and tells, well, the house is worth at 310 or 320. So then it's good for you. It's not that you're going to be able to borrow 320, but then it means that you didn't lose anything, and you pay even less than what the real price of the house is. So it's good for you, but the appraiser has to be there. I always tell my clients to bring the appraiser before you sign the purchase agreement, but it's very common that people sign and send the appraiser afterwards, especially when they have the financial clause. But if you don't have the financial clause, that's very dangerous, so be aware of that. Same thing with the technical inspector. That technical inspection is not mandatory, it's something you can choose to do. So again, if the house is older than 25 years old, 20 to 25 years, it's always nice to have an technical inspector to come. What he will do, he will check the house and let you know if he sees something major in the house. And if you find something major, you can pull out of the deal. But all that happens before the signing. Once you get in the meantime, you also have to choose a notary to make your mortgage deed and transfer deed. So that always happens during the period of offer and signing. So once you sign your purchase agreement, be aware, read everything 100 times, all the dates will be, see if you have, it's always nice to have someone to check it for you. 99% the purchase agreements in the Eindhoven area are in Dutch. Just so you know, I do speak Dutch. I learned the language, so don't give up, you get there. But it's hard, Ludo, it's very hard. But the purchase agreement will be in Dutch, but they always, not always, but they normally send a kind of explanation of all the articles in English, so then you can be more aware while you're signing. but again, just pay attention, look all the little clauses and see if everything is okay, and also see if every date that is in the contract is also okay. And then after you sign the purchase agreement, it is the time that you're going to start your mortgage application. So with the purchase agreement, you have to send your mortgage advisor at the bank, and they will contact the bank to start your whole process of mortgage. After you sign the purchase agreement, you still have 3 days to pull out of the deal without paying any penalty. We call those days cool-off period, which means that, let's say you sign it on a Wednesday, the period starts at midnight on Wednesday. So you have Thursday, Friday, and Monday still to give up, because the days cannot fall on weekends or holidays. So then always sign on a Wednesday, it's perfect, or on a Friday, that's also good. Then you still have 5 days actually to, you know, get your red out of around. And maybe it was not something for you, it was just, then you get out the deal and don't pay anything. Of course, you pay the technical inspector because it's been there, you pay the appraiser, but that's around together 800, 900 euros. It's better than pay 10% penalty and above paying 30,000 euros as a penalty, right? So normally the mortgage will be approved after the signing of the purchase agreement. You start the process. Normally the mortgage will approve. I think in your contract, most of the contracts come with a period of maximum 6 weeks to get the mortgage approved. Always ask your mortgage advisor about that, how long he thinks the mortgage will be approved, because it can be, you can have a bit of a leverage if you put less time in your offer when you make your offer to get in the house. But most likely in 4 weeks, I've seen it 2 weeks already, because really fast, you get your mortgage approved. Be aware that we are in the holidays period. It's summertime. All the people from the bank always also go on holidays, so that can take just a little bit more time now because of the summer holidays. But once everybody's back, it's quite fast. Once the mortgage application is approved, everything will be sent to the notary, and the notary will start to work the mortgage deed. Again, the mortgage deed, the whole contract, the whole deal between you and the bank, and they will do the transfer deeds, the whole deal between you and the seller. They will make everything, and also the statement of completion. What is that? That's the final invoice. That is the money all behind that you have to pay, besides the mortgage, of course, the price of the house. Those 2%, the notary, the appraisal, the technical inspector, the agent, if you have one, that's the time where you pay everything. So the notary will make an invoice, and the invoice has to pay maximum 24 hours before you go to the notary for the transfer date. So when the transfer date comes, so let me explain to you about, let's say if you put an offer today, we are almost end of July. Most likely you move in the house in end of September, or out there to say October, November now. I have clients who are moving January, February already. So that's the time you have to wait for the transfer, for the key handover, for the transfer time. So that will be here at the end on the inspection time. Before you go to the notary, you make an appointment. Most likely the selling part will make an appointment with you and the seller, and around 1 hour and a half, 1 hour before that you have to go to the notary, sign everything. You go to the house together with the seller, and you're going to do a last inspection, really looking at the house and see if the house is the same way as you saw it before when you were there, if they left everything the way it's supposed to be. They cannot, for example, break any walls. The only thing they can do is fix it if something breaks in the meantime, from the day you sign the purchase agreement until they move. For example, if the freezer breaks, they have to fix it, because when you were there, it was working. If the CV kettle breaks, they have to fix it because it was working. The heating system was working when you were there. So those kind of things, but they cannot change anything. So that's why the last inspection is about. For you to get to know the house, they will, a lot of sellers, they explain to you how everything works. They give you like this huge boxes, all the papers of the house. If there is any guarantee in the house, they will be passed to you. Those kind of things. Once everything is they also take pictures of all the meters, water, gas, electricity, and then from that day on, you have to put on your name, of course. So that's what the last inspection is about. So they make a little report, and the report will be sent to the notary, to you, to the seller, and then it's time for you to the notary. At the notary, you're gonna have your translator. That if you don't speak fluent Dutch, is mandatory in the Netherlands, so you cannot escape from it. and they will read it, the mortgage deed, the transfer deed, and explain to you the whole invoice you paid, and then hand over the keys to you, of course. And then from that day again on, the house is completely yours and your responsibility. Here you can see a 2 months end liability period. We all tell our clients there is more or less 2 months for you to use the whole house and see if everything is working properly. But be aware, it's a very gray zone. I had a client last week with this whole rain thing that was happening. Some water was coming into the one part of the house. It was not like a window, it was more like they did an extension, and the water was a little bit of water was dripping inside the house. So after a week they moved, 2 weeks or 3 weeks they moved. So that was a huge problem. The seller came to see it. They never had water in the house before. It was a lot of rain. You probably saw in the news, around 70% of the houses in Eindhoven had a little problem with the rain. Well, the whole Netherlands had it. The south had awful floods, but in Eindhoven area, we also had a lot of rain and people had problems. So that was one thing that happens. So they are calling the insurance to make sure, but the whole neighborhood had problems as well. So that's why we always tell it is a gray zone. In this case, might be only bad luck. They are still solving things out. So we're going to see how it goes, but it's just for you to have an idea what this liability time of 2 months means for you. Who we will meet during this whole process, this whole little buying process timeline that I showed you. First thing first, even before you talk to someone to help you out buying a house, you need to know your financial power. You need to talk to a mortgage advisor, you need to talk to your bank and see how much you can borrow, what are the conditions. They look at your working contract, they will look at your pay slips and tell you everything you need to know and how far you can go or how you should do it. There are, believe me, different things for every single company you work for. I had clients that work for the university, they have different contracts from the other clients that work for university, but they have different contracts. I have people from ISML who had problems with the bonus. I have I myself, my husband works for ISML, had problems with the bonus. We need to change our bank. We had to get a mortgage for our house. So all those little things, it's something that the mortgage advisor will help you out with. So he will share more information about the mortgage and best conditions and rates. Of course, always tells you the best option for you. He will prepare the right documents, submit the mortgage application once your offer gets accepted and everything, sent to the notary, and of course, be chasing really the banks to be fast to meet all the deadlines that that you have in your purchase agreement. So it's very important to have the right person to help you out with your financial part. This is my friend Alana. She is also a buying agent. So let me, Alana and I and all my colleagues in H&N, we will inform you and assist you during the full process of buying. It's very important to have someone to help you out through the process. If it's not us, try to find someone else to give you the whole support to make sure that you are in the correct way, that you're not being that there are not any schemes or that you are reading the contracts the way it's supposed to be, or offering or making the offer that it protects you when you're buying a house. Search, schedule viewings, and join you to them. We have different packages. Some packages we do join you in the package. Sometimes you do it alone and we do the rest. It really depends. But we do all property and research price. It's very important for you to know the real value of the property, because before you send the offer, a lot of houses are valued when you see on Funda. It's not the real price of the house. Like the price is much higher. I'm not saying about the price that the house will be bought for it, but they will buy for it. But the real value of the house, a lot of houses are much. They put the price on Funda for much less to have more people coming to the house, and then when the evaluator goes to the house, the price is much higher. So be aware of that. That's why a property and price research is very, very important. Property research, it will really define if you need or not a technical inspector in the house, and to see everything that most of things that are wrong and the good things as well. I can give you an example. I live in a house that is from 1906, I believe, and very, very old house, you would say, and a lot of people wouldn't even come nearby. but we did renovate all the house completely, 100%, from roof to the ground floor, everything, new pipes, everything. So if you see the documents of my house, you probably don't need a technical inspection. But when you see on the internet 1903, you're like, oh no, that's not for me. So that's why the documents are very important, because they will show you if you need or not a technical inspector. Also what you find in the documents, what kind of neighbors there are around. If there maybe you're a family, you want to have more kids nearby, so you see if they are single, if they're not, those kind of little things you will know as well from the documents. And the price research. The price research is the one that you cannot miss. That's how you're going to make your offer based on the price research. You're going to make your offer more appealing. Also, we will help you to choose the better conditions for your offer, what is possible and what's not possible. Try to negotiate everything for you, prepare the offer, prepare a client profile, negotiate the whole price, send the offer, and after the offer gets accepted, do everything else that needs to be done for you to get your keys. Notary, go through all the notary things, a technical inspector, and also the appraiser, everything, review all the documents and legal documents together and make sure that you are well protected and everything is okay. So really make sure that you not just buy your home, but you're buying your home on the safe side. What do you need afterwards? An appraiser, right? I told you need a valuation report, mandatory for the Netherlands, mandatory for you to have your mortgage. So she will come and confirm that the price you pay is the one that is being on a valuation report. So again, work with the price research, make your offer, and make sure that the appraiser can put that on the paper. So she has to come to after the offer gets accepted and make the whole report. The report is made with an independent party called NWWI. Is an association for the appraisers, and they have to study for that to be able to make an official one. So it has to be an official, and then they make this huge report with 85 pages and send to the bank and prove to the bank why that house is worth that much and why the bank should give it to you, the mortgage, and why that value. They make comparisons with the houses around and the prices around. For her to build the house is quite quick. The report, however, is not that quick. It takes about 3 to 7 working days. But that's okay. The bank can work with that as well. So we'll be fine. And that's something that we would chase for you. We would make sure that everything will be okay for you to get your mortgage as well. Building inspector, technical inspector, that's merely, again, it's not legally required. So that's why it's important for you to look at the documents. I would love to say it should be legally required, because what I see now is that a lot of people are buying without technical inspection just to have a better offer, and a lot of troubles come with it as well, especially if you buy an old house or a house that have documents that are not completely filled up with the questions that you have, with the answers that you need to see, or or just ended up find out wrong things afterwards after you buy the house, so they are already your responsibility. So I wish it was a legal required, actually, but it isn't. So that's why it's very important for you to look at the documents. She will come to the house and do a visual inspection. She will look at every inch of the house and see if everything's working properly. Of course, she's not going to break any wall and see what is behind, but you can have a big picture of, for example, roof condition, insulation, wall, the painter of the walls, painting of the walls, what else, CV and those kind of maintenance, bathroom, mold, ventilation, those kind of things you put all in the report. Most likely the report will be done the same day, but it can take up to 2 days. And then you can see the costs as well. And then when you have the costs is when you can maybe try to negotiate with the seller. Let me give me an example. I had a client once. We got offer accepted. The technical inspector went there, and he saw that the roof was completely, it was over. It was just, it needs a new roof. When he pulled something, everything came out, and it was really bad. So the cost for it was around, I think it was 15,000 more or less. So what we did is we talked with the seller. I'm not saying everyone will negotiate it. A lot of people these days won't, because someone will be willing to just buy like that and renovate themselves because they have the cash. but it's always worth to try. In this case, we were successful. They didn't fix the whole roof. They didn't, but they did pay half of it. So I remember my client paid 7.5, and they paid 7.5. They took 7,500 from the purchase price, and then my client fixed the roofs after they moved in. So that's something. But those negotiations, they can only start if the things that you have to do immediately, that will be in the report as well, what you have to do immediately, 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years. So 0 to 1 year is immediately. Once it comes to 0 to 1 year, that you have to do immediately, they have a fix immediately, and it's up to not up, it's more than 5, 7, 8,000 euros. That's something you can think about, start to negotiate. Below than that, if the house is more old, if the documents have a little bit of things that you need, a little bit of red flags, you knew it, and so that's non-negotiable. But if it's something new and it's major, you might be able to negotiate. Or me, I can do it for you. I can always do it for you. Notary. Notary, it's also mandatory. The notary is the one who's going to make your mortgage deed and your transfer deeds. But that's not the only thing that the notary does. Some depends on the, here in Eindhoven, the purchase contract, the purchase agreement is made by the selling agents. It's still okay to do that. But for example, in Amsterdam area, and I'm not sure in Groningen now, but in Amsterdam area, the purchase contract is made by the notary as well. So they're not allowed, the selling party is not allowed to do it. But in Eindhoven, yes. So you're going to the notary for the mortgage deed and the transfer deed. Something that the notary also do in the Netherlands that I think is very nice is go through all the documents of the house since the house was built. They have all the documents for you to see and make sure that everything is correct. We had a case once, an apartment, that my client was already the third buyer, and for some reason, the other notaries didn't see that he was using the, I forgot the name. I also forgot the name in the last presentation. The deposit, not deposit, forgot where they
storage.
The storage. Thank you very much. I forgot the same word last presentation. The storage. My client bought an apartment. It came with the storage, right? So there is her storage. It was right next to the elevator. But she bought the apartment from a very old man who moved to the caring facility. What happened was that when he bought it, like 30 years ago, he negotiated with that party, the someone in the building, to change storage. So he took one storage next to the elevator because he was old, but he actual storage that was in the documents in the notary, it was in a storage like really far away from the elevator that he needs to walk like, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes. And for him it was too much because it was in those little walking, like looked like a chair, but they hold themselves to walk. And it was, so they changed storage. And my client didn't know, it was not in the purchase agreement, it was nowhere. The notary found out. So we were a few hours before the notary, they call us, we went to the building and we talked to the other people and we had to change storage. So because the apartment was being selling to other people with the wrong storage place and ended up at the other storage room, it was much bigger than the one my clients saw when we were there to see the apartment. So those kind of documents is what the notary will look at it. He'll go to the city hall, see if every taxes are paid as well, which is very important because in the documents of the house, you see that they say it is paid, but the notary doesn't really only believe that. He will go to the city hall and see if everything is okay and paid. So that's what you pay for. It's kind of a check, background check in the house to see if everything is okay. Frequent, we put together some questions that we think a lot of people will ask. So about the whole buying process. What happens if you want to leave the country after several years? Okay, after several years, I most likely, it really depends on the kind of a mortgage you have, okay? But most likely you have to sell the apartment, the property. If you want to rent the property, you will have to inform the bank, and the bank will, first of all, you need permission to rent a property in the Netherlands from the bank to be able to rent. Or the bank will make you change your buy mortgage to buy to let, to be able to rent, right? So which has a very big impact on payments and the amount that you can finance, that you can have as a mortgage. So we know a few people who left. It depends where you go, of course. But most likely you have to sell. Well, I would say with this market, if you stay here for 3 to 5 years, just sell it. When you leave, you're going to make a lot of profit already. But if you intend to get back, it depends if you are from the European Union or not. There are different rules. You have to change your mortgage to buy to let to be able to rent your apartment or to your property. Keep your home, but oh yeah, it was all here, and I'm just saying before, sorry to press the button. Keep your home but have mortgage costs. So that's something you can still do, but the apartment will be closed, so you still have to pay the mortgage fees, of course, if you leave the country. Rent out your home, you need permission from your bank. I said that before. Sell your home without any penalty or capital gains tax. That's something that is you don't have. You can always sell your home. Of course, it depends on the contract you make with the bank, and not have any penalties for selling, and just make the profit. Depends how many years you stay with your property. Another question: how much I can borrow from the bank? So that's something. It's around 8 times your gross salary per year. Right? Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's more and less that you can rent from the you can borrow from the bank. There are a lot of calculators that you can use it. We do have one in our website ourselves, but there are a few things that you need to consider. There are a few banks that don't accept bonus, as I said. I myself, we did have to change our bank that we had the first mortgage for the second one because they didn't accept the bonus. I know a few banks that don't accept the 13 salaries, for example. So it really depends on kind of how is your payslip will look like, how your contract with the company will look like. I had clients before that for example, the company paid the rent, paid the phone, paid the car, and it was all included on their salary. But then the way they put it in the salary, the way they wrote actually in the salary, make the difference when they have to when the bank decided how much would be their budget. So that's why, again, it's very important for you to talk to a mortgage advisor. Different contracts, different companies can give you different give you different budgets. We can only show you the big picture. To have more specifics, it will make a huge difference. It also makes a difference if you have a company on your name. There are different rules as well. Rules for mortgage cap: based on your salary, based on your value of property, of course, residential mortgage or mortgage buy to let, on occupation obligation, lower interest rates, loan to value of 100%. So if you're not renting the property, you can loan you can borrow maximum 100%. But if you are buying something to rent, you can only have 70% as a mortgage of the real value of the house, of the value of property. So be aware of that. The other 30% you have to pay yourself. Mortgage and renovation loan is probably value of the house is 100%. Add the value by renovation based on invoice and request to values in the valuation report. What that means is that if you buy a house, and I did that myself, I bought my house and I knew I wanted to do a renovation, so I need to borrow some money. I didn't have the whole money to do the renovation, so I bought a part of it. But that's when you let your the appraiser knows that you're going to do some renovations and how much they're going to cost. You need to have let's say 2 construction come to the house and make an offer and show how much they will cost. And the appraiser will put that on the valuation report. He will tell you how much the house will be worth it after you make your renovation. He will tell the bank that, and then the bank will tell you how much they will borrow based on that. They're not going to give you 100% of what you ask. Be aware of that. And also the house, it's not, let's say you put in a new kitchen. Let's work with the 300 again, the 300,000, and you put a new kitchen, a new bathroom, and a new, I don't know, you're going to renovate the whole living room and kitchen part and the bathroom, and that will cost 60,000 euros. The appraiser will tell you how much will be after the renovation. So the house is not going to be worth at 360 just because you expend 360,000. He will make a little calculation. I think it'll be around 340, 345 maybe, but it's not going to be 100% of what you expend in the house to make the renovation. Just be aware of that. But it is possible. There is a thing called Attendee Poll in the Netherlands, is where you can borrow the money to do the renovation. You have to show the invoices to the bank. It depends on your mortgage. You can borrow for a year or for 2 years. but you always have to show invoices, and then you can take that money to pay those people who work in the house. Can I rent out my house or a room? It really depends on the mortgage you do as well. Most likely it's not allowed, or when it's a residential mortgage, you need permission from the bank to rent it out. Of course, the bank wants to know if you are able to buy it, if you're able to cover the mortgage. That's what they're more interested to have. So a lot of mortgage contracts, 99% with them will come with a clause that says that you need permission to rent the property. Only a room is allowed. It's allowed for 2 people without permit, not allowed for some areas. So there is a website here you're going to get on this presentation. It really depends on the area. You are able to have people register in the house or not. If they need a BSN number, they need a registration. So that's something that you need to check, of course, because they're going to use your home as a address, and you're going to pay taxes for that. So that's something you need to check. In Eindhoven, it's allowed for 2 people without permit, but in Eindhoven, actually, there's no maximum people you can register in your home. But if you go to the website and put the square meters, they might tell you more or less how many people could be, because for them, they are living there. So that's something you need to be aware as well. And if something comes up, if the city hall thinks there's something wrong, of course, you can always be fined by the city hall. What's the typical amount I should overbid? Yeah, that's the part I find very interesting. So let's talk about overbid. First of all, the price you see on Funda, it's not the real price of the house. I mean, the real price when the appraiser is there. 99%, no, I'm not going to say 99% because I don't know about the other regions, but I know about Eindhoven regions. 90% of the region in Eindhoven, they tend to put the prices down the value. Some companies put even 30,000 K less than is real, less than the real value. When I mean real value is when the appraiser is in the house and tell, look, this is how much it really is, how much is the price of the house. Why do they do that? For people to be able to overbid, for people to be able to come in, more people to come to the house. So what you need to understand about the overbidding when people say, well, they bought it for 70K more than the asking price. Again, we don't know if the asking price is the real price of the house. Maybe it's 50K more, so they actually only pay 20K more. That's what we can see here. It's all about the real value of the house, right? So let's work on this one. Asking price is 400,000. I need to put my values up. I was always working with the 300. The people were like, boom, 400. So this is 400, okay? The asking price is a 400. The appraiser was there, and the market value, the real value, the one he's going to put in the report is 430. So do you see the difference? And then the purchase price is 460. So actually, you did not pay the 15% on the asking price. You pay actually 7.5% from the asking price. So it's really hard for us to tell you how much more you need to overbid. This week, I had it was this week? A few weeks, maybe this week and last week, I don't remember anymore, but we have clients that we put an offer that was already about 15,000 more than the asking price. And then the appraiser came and the report came and they put even higher than we offered. So my clients actually bought the house less than the real market value, which is really good. So you see, it's not always that you have overbid. And even if I tell you, you need overbid of 10% of the asking price. So that's the difference. 10% above of the 400, it will be 440K. So, and then if the market value comes of 430, you only overbid 10%, 10,000 above the 400, which would be about 3% above the asking price or something. So that's not much. So that's why it's really hard for us to tell you how much more you should overbid. You see, because the price that they put on Funda, the 400 here, this is the price on Funda, asking price, okay? But this is the price when the evaluator came. So we bid this 460. So can you imagine if I was there and told you, you have to overbid 10% more? Actually, you only overbid 7.5. Not only, it's still a lot, huh? 7.5% more. What I want to tell you is that I had a client a few weeks ago that he was there, and then he called me and said, look, the agent told me I have to bid at least 20% more than the asking price. So that's the mistake. Can you imagine if he overbid 20% more than the asking price? How much more he would have lose in this case? So it's, you see, that's what you need to pay attention. And what they do is wrong, telling people that already in the viewing that they have to overbid that much more. It's not correct. Remember, they get percentage from as much more you bid, more percentage they get, more higher it is going to be their commission. Again, asking price, look at, and this, I like this one. Asking price on this one is 380. They're coming back to my value, 300. I'm so poor. Look, 380, this is the asking price. Oh, look at the difference. Asking price versus purchase price. Again, why it's not going? It should be able to go. It is not going. 80K, 21%. If we have done that before, 21% is 80K more than the asking price. So can you imagine? The difference still would be huge. So that's why you really need to do your price research and know about the real value of the house. It's the real value. It can be much higher than what is on Funda. It can be only 10,000 more than is on what is on Funda. So that's the difference of the big overbid. The overbid is based on Funda, but Funda does not have the real market value. That's the difference. What is the 10% deposit I need to complete? So the 10% is a down payment of the purchase agreement. Let's work with the 300 again. So you sign your purchase agreement. Basically, the 10% is the 10% of the purchase price you pay, and it's what they use to cover as penalties. Basically, the 10% is a bank guarantee that gives you that seller that if something wrongs happen, he can have that amount. He can have the 10%. It comes in all the contracts, kind of mandatory. You cannot run from it. You can borrow from the bank or you can pay with your own money. It's more like if you send an offer, if you don't have a financial clause, but your mortgage doesn't get accepted, so that means you're going to have to pay 10%. You're going to have to pay 10% of the purchase price, those 30,000 euros from our property to the seller. But if you have a financial clause and you didn't get the financial, for some reason the bank say no. And just so you know, it's very hard for the bank to say no. That's why it's very important to talk to the mortgage advisor. You go already kind of protected because the mortgage advisor will tell you, no, you can have it. Yes, it's okay, you'll be fine. So that's why it's very nice to talk to someone. But let's say you don't get it. So if you have a financial clause, you're protected. You don't have to pay those 10%. The money goes back to the bank. The contract is dissolved. Nobody's going to pay anything, and they're going to try to sell the house to someone else, right? But let's say you got the financial clause, but then you woke up and said, I don't like the house anymore. I don't feel safe. I don't want to. I'm too afraid. Then you have to pay the 10% because you will only protect if you put a financial clause. But the financial clause only protects you for the financial part. So that's why you have to be aware. So that was the 10%. Today I only saw one person use the 10% purchase price. They didn't have anyone to help. They didn't have any idea what the contract was about. Nobody explained. They made them sign the contract like 2 days after the offer got accepted, and then something went wrong and they had to pay the deposit. But even though it was not like they wake up and something's wrong and then you have to pay the 10%. You need a lawyer, the seller needs a lawyer, a judge will come in the middle, and the notary. In the meantime, this money will be at the notary. Nobody will touch the money. Nobody's going to get it. Into the judge decide who is going to have what. But that's basically to cover the penalties. What are your fees? Good question. Our fees for the smart package is 1,999, and for the complete package is 4,099. This is everything we do for you. We do a personal intake, of course, after the presentation. If you can schedule, feel free to do it. I'll be with you every step of the way. Do the price research, submit the offer, make the offer, discuss the offer with you, make everything ready, look all the proper documents as well. If you get your offers accepted, I will be the one dealing with the agent and with the selling part. You don't talk to them, only me. I'll be doing everything on behalf of you and your family or your partner. and make sure that everything is correct. Contact the notaries, send you quotes for the notaries as well. Contact the appraiser, technical inspection, make everything very easy for you during the whole process. So those are the two packages we have, and I hope you can contact us after all and have an intake, and I can explain everything to you. It's free, of course, the intake, and after all, you can decide if you'd like to work with us. What impact does COVID-19 have on house market? So if you, I love this question, because if it was a year ago, and if you go to YouTube, all the other presentations are there as well, I would say, well, we don't know that much yet. We expected the market would slow down. People are not buying that much. We won't buy that much anymore. So, well, we were wrong, apparently. The market went even crazier. It did slow down the first 3 or 4 months of COVID last year. I would say first lockdown was in March, beginning of March or so. So I would say April, May, and June, it did slow down. But then at the end of June, it went like woof, sky high again. I think people were like completely done with COVID by the third month in the whole lockdown thing. And the companies didn't stop work. The Netherlands didn't stop make money. The big companies still make money. So the market just went up still, and it's going up. So we don't see actually any impact on COVID. Well, we do see an impact. A lot of people who used to live in tiny apartments are desperate to buy a house. They definitely decided to buy. They definitely decided that they cannot come live in those tiny apartments anymore. Or even people who, as myself, I live in the city center of Eindhoven, and I have now this feeling that I don't have to be here in the city center because we don't go to the city anymore that much. The restaurants were closed for like 6 or 7 months, so we didn't do anything. And now maybe I can sell. It's in the city center. Probably the price will be good, and buy someone else, maybe cheaper, pay less mortgage. So those kind of things are what are the impacts we see. But as prices going down, definitely not. It's going even higher, but a lot of people are selling, and a lot of people are buying. Much more people are buying, so which makes the market only. Yeah, regarding COVID, no, I'm sorry, it's just going up, and up. Nothing changed because COVID. I think it just went even crazier. That's what we see. Here you can see the developer of average houses price in the Netherlands, and now it's even higher than that. I think it went almost to 400 a week ago or something. So it's going very high. That's the average price for a house in this country, which is quite a lot, because especially for the people who are buying the first time, it's quite hard to buy with that price. But here you can see it went a little bit down on 2000 during the crisis, 2009. After 2009, it went a little bit down, and then it's only going, as you can see. And I think 2 weeks ago, a week ago, it almost went to 400. So it's unbelievable. Does work with agent and add value? Definitely. I will always say yes, of course. But I do believe in what I do and what my colleagues do. We do care. We care about people. We care about helping them find their home. And we don't, I think something that we do, first of all, we have a fixed fee. So you can see and send offers for as many houses that you like, and your house can cost 300 and can cost 1 million. We're not going to charge you a percentage, which makes, I think, a huge difference. And also, we really care if you find your home. There's something that you really like. I had clients before that at the beginning, they were so desperate to buy something that they went to shooting offers everywhere. And that's okay with me. It's not my money. And that's what I'm here for. I will make the offers for as many houses you'd like to have. But I think we came to a point that we knew each other a lot. We were talking for a long time, that they want to put an offer on this tiny apartment, and it was completely opposite that we were looking before, just because they wanted something so badly. And then I gave them a call, and I said, look, I think we know each other for a few months already, and we know how things go. Are you really sure you want to live there? Is it worth it? What if we get it? What are we going to do? Do you see yourself living there? And after a day, they were like, you know what, if we get it, we're going to say no, because we don't like that. So that's something. And for me, it would be easy if they just get the apartment. It's process will be done next to the next, move on to the next client. But it's not just about that. It's about having people really feeling happy, feeling home in a country that they don't know, or they just getting to know, or they just choose to live as I chose to live. So that's the difference in our company. I really believe in that. Selling agents taking offers from NHN more seriously. That's something that we see very often when you have an agent, that they ask my clients specific in the viewings if they have an agent, and if they, a lot of people know us already, so they send the information to us as well. And also think about if you're selling your own home, would you be more comfortable knowing that someone is helping you out through the whole process? And especially when you have, I see a lot in small villages around Eindhoven, that a few people are even afraid to take offers from someone they don't know at all, because the offers are so high, they're afraid that those people will actually pay for that. So that makes a difference when you have a selling agent that they can talk to, that make them feel more comfortable with the whole process. We sometimes can book viewings when it's no longer possible. That's true. A lot of agents, they do leave a few spots for the viewings for the agents. So it happened before that it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens a lot, that we call and the client couldn't get a view, and then I call and they go like, oh yeah, of course, we're already waiting for you to call. So that happens, but because they do have spots for agents. We support to buy reviewed Dutch logs, legal and property documents. That's very, very important. And if you do that on your own, be sure you have the right translator, that it gives you really the 100% a good translation, that for you not to go wrong in any of those documents. We help you find market value through market data. That's the price research. Is very important for you to know the real price of the house and to see how can you make your best offer, of course. We inform you about the rules and regulations. There are different rules for different properties. If you're buying a property where there is a ground lease, it's not so common here, but it happens. Or if you're living in an apartment, you have owners associations, they have different regulations as well. So that's something you have to be aware of. We make sure you don't make the same mistakes I made. Yes, that's definitely, yeah. I did not hire someone to help me out in my first house. I have to be honest about it. I was just lucky that it was the beginning of the crises were getting better. So there was nobody was buying. I was lucky enough to be in that time. I was able to buy, and other people were not. So, but I didn't have a lot of things. I didn't have technical inspection. Nobody told me about it, and yeah, it got ugly. But that's why we're here for, to help you not make those mistakes. So here it is. Please feel free to schedule an intake with us. You will receive again this presentation and the video from the webinar via email in a few days. So you can see my email, my phone number. Feel free to ask your questions if you have still any. Thank you so much for being here. Now we're going to go through our questions. If there's any question, Ludo.
Yes, my favorite part always. We don't have a lot of questions in, so please feel free, if you have any outstanding questions, to pop them in the Q&A, and then we will answer them accordingly. We already have a question from Varun. He asks, or she asks, is the financial advisor part of our smart package?
No, the financial advice is not part of it. It's someone that you hire yourself. I could give you, if you like, send me an email and I can give you a few names, the people that I work with myself for my mortgage, for example, that other clients work with. They're very nice people. But no, it's not a part of our package.
Exactly. Well, then I have another question, which is actually, I think, more towards someone who is a financial advisor, but maybe you can help them, give them an indication. A question from an anonymous attendee: how many times of your annual salary can you get as a mortgage? Do you know that by any chance?
Oh, I did know that. I know. I cannot make sure anymore. I knew it, but I don't remember anymore.
I think in this case, it's always good to have a chat with
Yeah.
the mortgage advisor or financial.
Sorry. Yeah.
As every situation is different, of course. So for someone, it might be 6 times their annual income.
Yeah, it really depends how the contract, your working contract is written as well. That makes a huge difference. So exactly.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that was our last question, actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so thank you so much. for being here, and feel free to schedule intake. Have a nice evening. Thank you, Ludo, for being here as well. And yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.